And we're back. Our spackling is dried, and it is time to do some basic painting. Now, what I like to do, and this is the kind of paints I'm using for this. We have a dark blue, deep navy, and I have a pool blue to mix to shade it out the dark blue. And on the bank, I'm just going to paint it a deep umber or a real brown. And it doesn't matter. We're going to just put one base coat down on the bank because we're going to fill the bank up with foliage. So it won't. It's just gonna need a base coat. But anyhow, this is how I like to paint this. And I'm going to take the deep navy blue. This is you. This is just my color choice. You can color it any way you want. And I'm just going to. This is how I figured out how to paint this. I'm just going to put the navy blue right down the darkness, which represents the deeper water, I might add, right down the center of the stream bed. And so I'm trying not to spill my bottle of paint over there. Yeah, I'm dipping right out of the bottle. Uh, I don't have a, you can see that right there. I'm just showing you bases of painting them. And uh, now it takes this spongy stuff, it takes a time for the paint to dry. So that's a good thing because it allows you to blend in other colors to it. And I'm going to show you how that works. The same way here. We'll paint right down the middle, this deep blue. We're just putting a basic paint job on it right now. You can see how it's going. And I'm going to add the next color. You don't have to have it dry for the next step because I'm going to put the there you go, right down the center like that. Let me put my paintbrush in the water here. Okay, and even though it's not dry, I'm going to go ahead and add this pool blue to the side, to the brick bed, and it'll mix in with the deep navy blue that we used earlier. Okay, yes, I'm just dripping right out of the paint bottle. Clean my brush off. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to paint the outside edge of the string, and then I'm going to blend it into the blue that I painted earlier. See how it works? Here. I go from the outside edge in, and it kind of gives a water variation. I have my hope you can see that. And see, it blends in, and it leaves a little different water texture. So a little lighter along the edges and a little more blue on the. So you want to allow variation of different shades to make it look more like real water. If it was all just straight blue, you wouldn't get that. That's probably sort of like what I'm shooting for here. Let me dry my brush out here. Then we go on the other side of the stream. You put the light in, and then you blend it into the blue that you already. And the nice thing is about this foam material is the fact that it stays wet for a while, so the paints do blend. We still have another shade, but I'll worry about that later on. And you just kind of get the color that you want out of it. The same way here. I'm going from light to dark to represent the that the deeper water is in the deeper part of the stream. Now, I'm not the best painter in the world, and I'm sure some of you know better painting techniques than this, but this is what I do. And it is going to take a while for this to dry. The spongy material does absorb the paint up pretty good. You go from the light of the bank to the dark of the something like that. Now you can find your own techniques for painting the water. But this is the kind of the technique I'm using. And so far I think it's come out pretty good. Can you see it? Okay. Do not despair. There is another shade we're going to put on here. But it's just kind of like the... Now, I'm going to skip ahead. I'm going to jump ahead, even though I would probably let this dry first. I'm going to go ahead and paint let me put my brush in the water. I'm going to go ahead and paint the bank dark brown, or I think I got some brown there. This is going to, and with this one here, you only need one coat because you're going to cover it with foliage. So, you know, I try to make things easy. Steps that are easy, and this is here is the I cleaned out my brush. This is the bank. The bank we're not gonna worry. Normally I would have waited until the blue dried, but I think I'm gonna pull this off. But the only reason why is because the blue foam underneath adds a certain blue to the And see, I'm getting the sides here where the spackling went. See how nice that spackling covers? How it covers the spackling. And so I can get away with this by doing this because it is blue foam. So, there you go. You get an idea of it. It's going to be pretty cool because we're going to add the foliage to it. To me, creeks and streams and all, they've got a lot of bushes and foliage around them. Good place for an orc ambush to hide or whatever. I'm trying not to get this all over my hand. You can tell that when I paint, I get it all over me. Like I said, painting and talking to the camera is anyhow, I think you get the idea. We're gonna I'm gonna do the other half. You don't have to see that. And see the spackling covers up nicely. And then we're gonna let this dry, and then we'll go to the next step. Next step, we're gonna add features to the string bed. Maybe some rocks or some logs or whatever we want. Some gravel or anyhow, you get the idea of where we're at right now. We're gonna I'm gonna do the other half. We're gonna let that dry, and then from there, we're going to move to the next stage. But so I will see you on the flip side.